They cornered him behind the school gym. Four boys, one name cutting through the humid Georgia air, Caleb Harris. He didn't run. He didn't beg. When the first fist flew, he didn't flinch. But this isn't just about a fight. It's about the moment a quiet black teenager in a small southern town decided he'd had enough. Before the video spread, before the rumors ignited, before a golden boy fell, there was a spark. This is how it caught fire. In towns like Mill Creek, Georgia, history hangs heavy not just in the heat, but in the silences. Porches creak with secrets, and eyes linger too long on those who don't blend in. Confederate flags still flap outside the post office, unchanged for decades. 16-year-old Caleb Harris stepped off the yellow school bus onto the cracked pavement of Lincoln High, his breath tight. New town, new school, same rules. He didn't glance back as the bus rumbled away. Looking back made you miss the warnings in people's faces. Inside, Lincoln High smelled of bleach and teenage boredom. Banners screamed, "Home of the Eagles," and the varsity crowd wore it like armor. Caleb passed a knot of Letterman jackets, their eyes narrowing as they sized him up. A whisper, a snicker. "Hey." The voice was sharp, deliberate. Caleb turned, already braced. Ethan Caldwell stood there, blonde hair perfect, Letterman jacket crisp, smirk too polished to be kind. He didn't say more, just stared, daring Caleb to exist too loudly. Caleb met his gaze, unflinching. The silence stretched, then Ethan turned away. Message sent. Caleb found his homeroom, sat in the back, kept his eyes low. The teacher didn't call his name, didn't even try. By third period, he'd mapped the school's rhythm, which stairwells to avoid, which eyes to ignore. Survival meant disappearing. But in fourth period, it came. A shove from nowhere slammed him into cold lockers, books scattering, laughter slicing the air. Ethan leaned against a locker, arms folded, casual as if he hadn't done a thing. "Watch where you're walking," he said, loud enough for the hallway to hear. No teacher stepped in. No one stopped. Caleb gathered his books, hands trembling not from fear, but from the storm he held back. Something stirred in him, and Ethan had just made his first mistake. The bruises bloomed slowly, purple and red under Caleb's hoodie, hidden like shameful secrets. By the time he stepped off the bus that afternoon, the sun dipped behind Mill Creek's pine trees. The small ranch house he shared with his father, James Harris, stood quiet, its dark blue shutters repainted last summer a nod to James's old Army unit. Caleb lifted his shirt, wincing at the swollen skin along his ribs, then stepped inside. "Hey, kid," James's gravelly voice called from the kitchen, where the scent of seared chicken and thyme hung thick. A former Delta Force operator, James filled the room with quiet authority. He could dismantle a rifle blindfolded, spot a lie in a breath, but fatherhood was a battlefield he was still navigating. Caleb dropped his bag. "Bus was slow," he lied. James glanced at him, eyes narrowing. "You okay?" Caleb forced a laugh. "Just tired." Their eyes locked, then James looked away. Dinner was silent, forks scraping plates. Caleb chewed slowly, his side screaming with each shift. He smiled at a weak joke, nodded when needed, but inside, he was drowning in the memory of laughter and silenced teachers who looked away, classmates who did nothing. Later, in the dim garage, Caleb faced the old punching bag, its leather worn from James's fists. He hit it, clumsy at first, each strike raw with rage and shame. "I should have hit back," he whispered, fist stinging. "I'm not weak." Outside, James watched from the shadows, silent. He saw his son unravel, shoulders curled not from pain but from something deeper. He didn't interrupt. Some battles needed patience, not orders. Fridays at Lincoln High buzzed with restless energy. Caleb had learned to move carefully, eyes forward, steps measured. He nearly reached the bus when Ethan's voice cracked like a whip. "Hey, Caleb." Ethan stood atop his black pickup, flanked by two friends, crowd circling. Caleb's pulse spiked, but his face stayed calm. "Forget something?" Ethan hopped down, voice theatrical. Caleb kept walking. Ethan blocked him, smirking. "Where you headed?" "Home to Daddy." Laughter rippled. Ethan leaned closer. "You don't belong here." Before Caleb could react, Ethan slapped him sharp, cruel, the sound echoing. Phones recorded. Caleb's cheek burned, blood trickling from his lip. The crowd laughed, jeered. "Good boy." Caleb knelt, picked up his backpack, hands steady. He stood, walked past Ethan, past the cameras, to the bus. They weren't laughing anymore, they were riposting. At home, James saw the swollen cheek, the bruised eye. "What happened?" he asked, voice low coiled. Caleb shook his head. "I'm fine." James stepped closer. "Look at me." Caleb's red-rimmed eyes lifted. James didn't push, but that night, his fist stayed clenched, dinner untouched. Caleb lay awake, phone buzzing with cruel comments. Knows his place. One message stood out. Caleb ain't soft. He's choosing his moment. It made him pause. At dinner the next night, James watched Caleb wince with each bite, the bruise darker now. He set his knife down. Who did it? Caleb froze. I'm fine, he whispered. James leaned forward. No, you're not. Caleb's shoulders jerked, tears spilling. I didn't do anything, he said, voice raw. He slapped me, called me good boy. They recorded it. They're laughing. James's jaw tensed. Who? Caleb hesitated. Ethan. James leaned back, eyes distant. I was 20, stationed in Texas, he said. First black guy in my unit. They left me behind on a drill, thought I'd stay quiet. Silence didn't protect me, told them I'd never fight back. Caleb swallowed. I've tried behaving, he said. It doesn't work. James nodded. Survival's not enough. Tomorrow, I'll teach you how to finish it. Dawn broke cold. James's voice cut through Caleb's sleep. Up. No warmth, just command. Outside, dew glistened. Run, James said. Until I say stop. Caleb ran, pain flaring by the second mile. At the third, he vomited, stumbling. James appeared. Keep going. Caleb groaned. I can't feel my legs. James's eyes were steel. That boy didn't care if you were hurting. Neither do I. Caleb ran on, shame heavier than pain. Days blurred into runs and drills. In the garage, James barked corrections, feet wider. Shoulders down. Control the breath. Caleb's punches grew cleaner. His pain faded to background noise. One night, exhausted, he snapped. I'm done. James sat on the concrete. I was like you, angry, alone. But every bruise here saves you one out there. Caleb sank beside him. I'm so tired, he whispered. James nodded. Good. We're almost there. By week 3, Caleb's knuckles didn't bleed. His reflexes sharpened. At school, Ethan hadn't stopped. In history class, Caleb answered a question about the civil rights movement. Ethan cut in. Some folks just attract trouble. The room froze. At lunch, Ethan flipped Caleb's tray, food splattering. Pick it up, he sneered. Caleb stared, then smiled not mockingly, knowingly. He cleaned the mess, tossed it in the trash, and walked away. Whispers followed. He's different now. Thursday, Caleb found his locker pried open. Outsiders spray painted inside. Books torn. Students lingered, one recording. Caleb picked up his history book. Know Your Place scrawled over MLK's face. That night, James tossed him a towel. We trained to finish. Drills were brutal. Vincent's strikes testing Caleb's instincts. Caleb landed a clean hook to James's shoulder, surprising them both. James smiled faintly. You're thinking like a warrior. Friday, the parking lot humped. Ethan leaned against his truck. Hey, Caleb. No crowd, just them. You think you're something now? Caleb stopped. I remember everything. Ethan swung. Caleb caught his wrist, twisted, released. Ethan stumbled. He jabbed again. Caleb countered with an elbow to the chest. Ethan lunged, reckless. Caleb swept his legs, sending him to the pavement. I've had enough, Caleb said, voice steady. Ethan stayed down, fear in his eyes. Caleb walked away. Monday, a cream envelope waited. Caleb Harris, disciplinary review. Expulsion loomed. James read it, jaw tight. This is retaliation, he said. Ethan's dad, Robert Caldwell, runs this town. That night, James pulled out a phone, played a clip of the fight. Ethan swing, Caleb's control. We're not begging at this hearing, James said. We're ending his game. The boardroom reeked of old money. Robert, navy suit crisp, spun a tale of Ethan as the victim, Caleb the aggressor. I don't blame Caleb, he said, voice slick. I blame his upbringing. James played the video student footage, security feeds showing Ethan's aggression. Robert flushed. Anyone can edit a video. James revealed another angle, provided by a board member. The room shifted. The board president, Evelyn Grant, said, we take the side of truth. Robert's story crumbled. That night, a bang shook the door. James checked the monitor, Robert and 3 hired men. You humiliated me, Robert spat. James stepped onto the grass, barefoot. Go home. A thug lunged. James redirected, dropping him. In seconds, all 3 were down. You brought a fight to my door and lost, James said, nodding to the camera. Robert fled, defeated. By Monday, Ethan was gone transferred. Whispers filled Lincoln High. Caldwell thought he could bury it, but Harris had the receipts. Caleb walked the halls, head high. In the cafeteria, a girl, Sarah, sat across from him. "Do you regret it?" she asked. Caleb smiled. "No," that night. James joined him on the porch, mugs of tea steaming. "Now, you walk with both fists open," James said. Caleb nodded. The fight wasn't about punches, it was about standing. The kitchen smelled of garlic and rosemary, jazz humming softly. Caleb and James ate in silence, forks scraping, peas settling like dust in sunlight. Caleb's phone buzzed videos of James's takedown, dubbed the Silent Storm. James smirked. Good. Now they know the truth. Caleb lay in bed, the porch light glowing. He wasn't the boy who picked up books in silence anymore. He'd earned his place, unbroken. Caleb's story isn't just his, it's about anyone who swallowed silence, thinking it's safer than truth. It's about learning survival isn't living, restraint isn't surrender. James taught Caleb to fight, but more to stand. They didn't just when they reshaped Mill Creek's quiet rules. Caleb walks Lincoln High now, not as a target, but as a force. The Caldwells are gone, their legacy tarnished. The truth won, clear and final. What do you think? Was Caleb right to fight back, or should he have stayed silent? Is violence ever justified against injustice? Share your thoughts below, take a stand. Let's hear your voice. If this story moved you, subscribe for more tales of quiet courage and fierce truth. Let's keep the conversation going.